Good afternoon. Welcome to another edition of the Madison View. My name is Ralph Scott. I'm reading, I was reading an article about Rick Santorum, who used to be a Republican presidential candidate many, many moons ago. He basically was criticizing the Ohio state ballot, which the Republicans say state rights are so important and everything. He was criticizing that the state ballot because they had the abortion issue and the marijuana issue on the ballot for the people to vote. He basically said that abortion should not be on a public ballot because it is stupid, because it's a populist thing. It's not right. Basically what he's doing is he's saying that, they're being hypocritical, saying the states, have the right to do this, and then all of a sudden they're going to pull the states' rights back to where they don't vote on things like that. And, and in my opinion, taking things down to a state level, in my opinion, is a good thing, for a Democratic vote. But I honestly and truthfully think there's quite a few votes in this country that should be done on a nationwide scale, and I think abortion was one of them. But it's just the Republicans thought that they would go state by state and they would, get states that weren't, but this comes down to the religious theocracy is all it comes down to. But basically, Rick Santorum said the democratic process is a joke and abortion should have never been put on the ballot because they knew it would pass, because the majority of people do want abortion rights to be passed the same way with marijuana. They want it passed, even though, most of the people are not going to get an abortion and most of the people are not going to smoke marijuana. They want it passed because, just like with me, the compromise of abortion is the right. This person has the right to do abortion. What they do with it, that's between them and their God. But, there's all kinds of ways. I've read at least 3 or 4 articles where a woman, had she been able to have an abortion, would have been able to have a child later on, or they died, So it's actually it's a healthcare issue as much as anything else. And the marijuana thing is, in my opinion, to use a Republican saying, is where the light shines. Things when you turn the sunlight on something, things change a lot, because in darkness that's where all the evil and the misjustices are done. And it's just like, take for example cigarettes. Look how long it took. About everybody in America smoked back in the 50s. I don't think there was hardly anyone that didn't smoke. It was like 75 to 85% of the population that smoked during that time frame. And over a period of years, by shining the light of science on smoking, we're down to about 20% of people now smoke. It's just like anything else in this country. When people become better informed, of what is probably going to be the best thing for your health, or for your just physical well-being or your financial well-being, they do it because it's just common sense. You don't want to die young. The same way with drugs. Alcohol, whatever, just keep on shining the light on it. And eventually people will see, it's just the way things have been done. And, things have changed. People learned a lot over a period of time frame. But anyway, let me get back to the Santorum thing. He was saying that democracy fails because basically, with abortion being on the issue, the Republican Party knew that they knew they had a losing issue. And why they even run it, I have no idea. Just the fact that they were just trying to establish a theocracy. They thought they could pull it off, and it's not going to happen, and you got the radical right-wing preachers, and there's quite a few, people, in my opinion, who are conservative Christians, which is different than radical right-wing, are very worried about their religion now. Once the radical right-wing Christians have taken over, it's destroying religion for them. And they're very worried about it right now. It's to the point to where they think that it's going to go down to where people going to church services and everything is going to go down to 30%. It's going to go way down, and it's a shame really, because, basically what it comes down to is, the bullies got a hold of the schoolyard and run everybody off, basically what it comes down to, in my opinion, because they were trying to bully everybody around, because like Santorum knew and said, he knew that the abortion issue would pass with a public vote. He knew it would, but yet they still ran on it anyway, because they felt like it was destroying traditional family American values, which I don't know where they get that, but that's what they said. I don't know how abortion ruins that. And most of the politicians I know have confessed to having a girl to have abortion have been conservative, right-wing Christian politicians. I reckon just self-righteous people is what it comes down to. Self-righteous people, just like James Madison said many moons ago, arrogant people just really turn people off. And it's really going to hurt the Christian religion for many years to come. I think it's just really starting to show. They're worried about their faith getting crucified and everything. Well, they've done a good job of stringing it up on the flagpole themselves and setting the flag on fire, basically. But anyway, let's get back to this. And Rick Santorum basically is saying that democracy is, is a fool's errand because it doesn't produce the traditional Christian family values that this country stands for. But what he's referring to is back when Madison and the rest of the people signed the Constitution, only property owners could vote. But see, what everybody don't realize at that time frame, that was a major liberal advancement in government. There had only been 2 civilizations prior to this that even allowed a man to vote. And it was Rome, who gave it up once Caesar conquered so much land. They just gave him emperor for life because everybody got so rich and they didn't care. And then Greece just eventually folded or failed somehow or another, fell into the Roman Empire. I don't remember how that happened, but that's where the Roman Republic came from. It was basically a division of Greece. They all integrated with each other, and that's how Rome got so big, is they invented that republican government. And then they went back on it, which was a big mistake. But that's how they got big, was with the common people voting. That's how they got so big. But like I said, that's what Rick Santorum, they want to go back to where only property owners can vote. They want to restrict voting. That's basically what it comes down to, because they feel like that only they know the better answers. But again, it just comes down to, like Madison said, it's arrogant people. You got religious right people who are extremely conservative, extremely religious, extremely fanatical, that think they're smarter, faster, and brighter than everyone else out here. They think that they are gifted, if you want to say it that way. But they don't believe in democracy. And that's where a lot of these Republicans are trying to control state legislatures, which they're doing through gerrymandering. And that's another thing that I think should be put on a national ballot, that gerrymandering should be made illegal. And this is a protection of the Declaration of Independence, of the individual right to freedom, which is also protected by the Constitution. Because if you read it, it said in there that the only way that a government can derive its power is through the consent of its people. Okay. And if its people are not being represented correctly by manipulations of districts, then we are in direct violation of the whole entire reason why we fought the revolution to begin with, let alone the Constitution, because it says very specifically in the Declaration of Independence, forget about the Constitution for just a minute, that a government derives its power from the consent of the people. So if the voting districts are manipulated by the people in power, then how is that a reflection of the consent of people? So therefore, that's what I think should be done. And I'm going to run for office in my state, and I'm going to introduce that bill into legislation if I can. I'm a rookie politician, so I don't really know what I would have to do or anything like that right there. But I would really love to see that come to the floor vote and get this done and get this over with, because I think it would take our democracy to the next level that it's never been before. Basically, in my opinion, the level of the democracies in this country and how this country's went, we first of all did the revolution. Okay. That failed. We established the Constitution, which gave restricted vote rights. But it was still, like I said, it was a republic. It's something that hadn't happened in centuries. So it was still a very liberal step. And then Jackson come in and established the common man could vote. That's another stage in our democracy. And I would like to make this the third and final stage. Maybe not the final stage, but the third and one of the best stages that I can think of to get the Declaration of Independence fulfilled straight to its lettering and its writing and its intention, is to stop gerrymandering. And that's what I feel like my goal is, and my legacy of my forefather is that the Declaration of Independence, in my opinion, is just as important as the Constitution, because the Constitution protects the Declaration of Independence. So that's what I think is a very important issue nowadays. And I know a lot of politicians, according to, and the Republicans, are afraid to go against the popular vote. But I don't understand why, because if your ideas are so good, you should be able to convince people of the best way to go with this country. In other words, y'all sit there and say that God is backing you, and Johnson said that's the reason why you're in power, is because God blessed you and put you in those positions. Do you not think for 1 minute that it would not be a better battle for God to win in a free and fair election, to convince people and show people what is the right way? It's something that just baffles me. It's very hypocritical that the Republicans do this. To me, it goes against the very basic foundation of religion, in my opinion, Christianity, in my opinion. If you rig something, then how is it free and fair? And that's what the whole entire Christian process is supposed to be. You're supposed to make sure you include everybody. And it's against the whole entire principles of Christianity, let alone just against the Declaration of Independence and the Republicans talk about how the country has basis in Christian principles, and it does. And one of the Christian principles is you're supposed to include people. You're supposed to take care of people. You're supposed to not throw them out. Basically, you're supposed to be inclusive. And and I can't think of a better way right now in this country to solve probably about 65, maybe 75% of the problems we got in the House of Representatives right now would be to get rid of gerrymandering. And like a couple of Republicans are quitting and saying we're no longer attracting the cream of the crop. You know why? Because they don't have to fight the good fight. You don't have to fight the battle to prove that what you're saying is correct, and it will benefit everyone who votes for you. You're too busy rigging the system, ginning the system, ever how you want to say it. Good night.